Hello, hola, guten tag, bonjour, konnichiwa, namaste. My name is the Niche Guy and welcome to my channel. I'm alive, living, but sort of stressed with the amount of work that I have to do for school, but I am back for this video at least, and I'm here to inform you that I have solved the FNAF movie. Before I start, keep in mind that this is a niche opinion. Therefore, my point of view isn't the right one, but I'd love to see yours in the comments down below. I want to preface this theory, I guess you can call it, of mine by telling you my two biggest predictions for this movie and how they fit into the whole scheme of things. Scott Cawthon has made it clear that the FNAF movie would take its own liberties and shake up the plot of the games to be enjoyed by a larger audience. And for that reason, my first prediction is that Mike Schmidt, aka Michael Afton, aka the security guard from the first game, will not be related to William Afton in this movie. I know what you're thinking. This is blasphemy, but I want to remind you that Scott Cawthon has previously called this screenplay the Mike screenplay and is very clear that we'll be following him throughout the film. Now you may wonder what that has to do with anything, but let's take a closer look at the character description that surfaced on the internet months ago, before our main leads were even casted. And so it says, riddled with guilt over a tragedy in his past and now struggling to take care of his younger sister on his own, Mike is low on options when he lands a new job to pay the bills, the night security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Mike is vulnerable with a tough exterior. Though he means well, his obsession for digging for truth may have potentially disastrous consequences. Let's look at the first couple words. Riddled with guilt over a tragedy in his past. This is obviously referring to the bite of '83, where he lifted his brother into the mouth of Fredbear, which his brother died. However, I don't believe that he will be related to the crying child in the movie, and he will just be the catalyst for it happening. I think that they will reveal that he was just a bully, not an older brother, and that he was the one responsible for it in a shocking way that will subvert the expectations of fans and probably get them angry. It's also important to note the current timeline, where this movie will take place in the 90s. If this happens, William Afton still has the motive for becoming a killer since his kid died, so he can still blame this event on Henry. And this allows Mike to still have curiosity about the animatronics, especially considering the fact that other children would have died after the bite of '83, who obviously would be stuffed into Freddy in the game. Mike has also been described to have an obsession of digging for truth, which means he's not aware of the souls of the kids who have died, but in the games he clearly did, as he was fired for tampering with animatronics among other reasons, like his purple body odor. Another interesting character to point out is Abby, who also got a character description as well. Mike's younger sister, Abby, is inquisitive and brave, with a creative mind and keen intuition. A bit of a loner who keeps her thoughts and feelings close to her chest. She expresses herself primarily through drawings. Growing up without her parents, while being raised by an unreliable brother, Abby has learned to fend for herself. That said, she is still very much a child, emotionally vulnerable, full of imagination, and not without the normal outbursts of a 10-year-old. Abby sounds very familiar to Elizabeth from the games in terms of a character, but I don't believe that she is Afton's daughter. It says that she grew up without her parents, which, yes, we know William wasn't much of a dad in the games, it focused on the animatronics, and, fighting the sequel to Eternal Life through remnants or whatever, but Elizabeth's death, at least in the games, took place before Mike even got a job as a security guard. Obviously, Scott could change the lore at will, but I don't think that she being Afton's daughter and the whole sister location plotline will be in this movie universe. Mike got entered in the games and was a walking corpse when he was a security guard for FNAF 1, and clearly isn't here for obvious reasons. Sure, it would make sense for Mike and Abby to be related to William, given the fact that their parents got rid of them to pursue presumably murderous intentions after the death of their son, but I don't think that this will be the case, because another confirmed character in the film may know a lot more and will have a much bigger role in the film than we previously expected. That character is Vanessa, and my second prediction is that she will be a blood relative to William Afton. In the games, Vanessa was overtaken by William Afton, and she was portrayed as a loyal follower. In this film, I believe Scott will keep the connection to William Afton, but make her a good guy, and possibly a love interest to Mike in this movie. Now let's look at her character description and see how this all pieces together. Vanessa is a police officer who shows up during one of Mike's work shifts. While leading with a bright and sunny disposition, Vanessa has a keen understanding of the dark history and inner workings of the restaurant, not wanting to reveal too much of what she may know. She works to help Mike survive the night. This description clearly points out that Vanessa has a keen understanding of the restaurant, and I believe she knows that the animatronics are possessed, and I believe that this is the case because she would be related to Afton. The description says she doesn't want to reveal too much of what she knows, and I feel like it's telling us that she's related to Afton in that sense. Now in the game, she also had a bright and sunny disposition, but behind that was a strategic murderer. But I don't believe that we are there yet with her character. She probably became a police officer in this movie timeline because of the impact William Afton has had on her. She probably hasn't seen him in years, and she wants to help others, rather than hurt others like she suspects her father does. This would be why she would help Mike, and together they would free the souls of the children stuffed inside the suits. Obviously, Henry's daughter, Charlie, I think her name, the puppet, could help as well, as she was the one who did it in the games, and I believe that this movie's plot will rely on Vanessa's keen understanding of the restaurant. It's also worthy to point out that Vanessa addresses herself as Vanessa A in some messages throughout the game. FNAF theorists do not believe it's plausible that Vanessa is another daughter or granddaughter to Afton in the games, but in this movie, we're talking about where Scott will likely change the lore. So, it can check out that way. Also, the fact that Vanessa is alive during the events of presumably the first game timeline-wise for the movie tells me that she is only loosely based off of the games she comes from. Timeline-wise, it is also interesting to note that there has been a casting call for a younger Vanessa, which would be interesting if she was home when her brother, in my theory, the crying child, died in the bite of 83 and saw her dad go mad in like a flashback, or it would be also interesting if she was actually there for the bite of 83. Now, this is all speculative, and there's still a high likelihood that what I'm saying is incorrect, but what I am guaranteeing on a separate note is that this movie will definitely end with William Afton running into his spring-lock suit, and we will see him get spring-trapped. We know that there's been castings for a handful of children that will likely be the spirits of the animatronics scaring them into the suit, and we will watch the birth of Springtrap. Spoiler here, so cover your ears, but there's also been a leaked image of the Spring Bonnie suit that William Afton will likely put on, which looks very good, and I'm excited for that. To lure children in and then, kill them, all that stuff. Another interesting detail is that Matthew Lillard, the confirmed actor for William Afton, has said this this whole film thing is going to be a trilogy. This information leads me to believe that a sequel movie could be set in a FNAF 2 and then a FNAF 3 scenario. Complete the original trilogy, I guess you could call it. But I'm very curious to see how and if Cawthon develops this beloved franchise. Before I wrap up, I want to mention a couple other characters that have been cast, but will likely have more of a smaller role in this film. One of them is Christian Stokes' Hank, which is presumably Henry Emily, William Afton's main Freddy Fazbear co-owner and eventual enemy. Stokes has been actively posting on his Instagram and has shown that he has been reading the FNAF Encyclopedia, which I find really funny. I'm excited to see his back and forth dialogues and possible flashbacks between him and Matthew Lillard during the film. I also want to mention the vague female villain that has been reportedly cast in this movie. I believe that she could be the wife of William Afton, even though in the games the wife was not involved in William Afton's antics. She could also be a possibly responsible for getting people to take over the night watch at Freddy's and specifically go after people who are, in quotes, no-lifers and get them killed. What may be even more twisted is that maybe Mike, tells her that her sister has to join him for the night, which could be the reason why William wants to be there when Mike's there to kill Abby, his younger sister, because we all know William Afton loves children. This is all fairly far-fetched, but I don't see where a female villain, as she's reportedly called, fits in the movie other than being the wife to William Afton. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, comment down below what you think about my theories. Will Mike still be the son of William? Who is Abby, and is she actually Elizabeth? And what does Vanessa have to do with anything? Above all else, have a good day and keep it niche.